Today on the Barfly, we're tackling two different cocktails that you guys are going to be incredibly excited about, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. I think we should just get into it. My name is Leandro Demon Riva, and this is The Educated Barfly. Just for your information, I love your videos, but you're really weird when you shake your cocktail. Let's get into making the drink. A couple of weeks ago, we did a cocktail called a Dominicana, which is a Sasha Petraske milk and honey cocktail from the early 2000s. Well, actually, some people say it's an early milk and honey drink. Some people said 2011, so I'm not really sure where to put the year. But anyway, I was not prepared for the popularity of that drink. That video did really well. A lot of people really liked it. And we've got two comments from different viewers asking us to do both a Dutch Kills drink and then also a Attaboy drink that are kind of in the same vein. I thought it'd be a really great idea for a video because it's just very illuminating to take the template of one cocktail, change out the ingredients, and then show that even though they're very similar in preparation and even the specs are very similar, how different those drinks can be. So we're doing two cocktails today, one from Dutch Kills and one from Attaboy. Both bars are in the milk and honey family, and they are done in the Dominicana style, which is like basically the style of a White Russian / Brandy Alexander-ish. So the first cocktail we're doing was requested by Nave Strauss, and it's called a Tiger Chilled Coffee. So we're gonna start with a rocks glass. We're gonna build everything in here, and then we're just gonna go ½ ounce of cinnamon syrup, ½ ounce of pimento dram. So the recipe calls for Hamilton Jamaican pot still black, so we're doing a ½ ounce of that, but if you have other dark Jamaican rum, you can probably use it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And then the recipe just calls for dark rum, so I'm gonna be using our original dark from Plantation, and we're doing 1 ounce. So we're just gonna add some ice into our glass. We're gonna give this a nice stir. Okay, then we're gonna shake up our cream. Doing a little coil trick. You wanna make sure that the bead will stand up on your finger like so, because you don't want it to mix into the cocktail prematurely. And then we're just gonna layer this on like so, trying to obscure all the ice so you get a nice flat cream top. And then, last but not least, we're just gonna give it a little hit of absinthe for the aroma. So there we are, the Tiger Chilled Coffee. Oh, it smells like a dream on top of there. So obviously this way of building the drink is a little bit more about presentation. You can absolutely just mix the cream into here and taste it all together. I like to kind of sip through the cream, but you gotta tilt your drink back a little bit more or else you're just gonna get a big mouth of cream. So here it goes. It's like a tropical cocktail vibe, but you get that absinthe, that aroma of absinthe is so nice on top of that cream. It almost has like a, I don't know, like a kind of spiced sort of characteristic to it. You get the anise kind of notes, but it has this kind of spiced characteristic. And I'm not sure if it's just like reacting with the cream or if it's reacting with like what is going on, but it's just that absinthe hit right up front is really nice. And I am not the biggest fan of anise flavor or absinthe, I won't say, you know. The drink itself, I don't know, I'm gonna sip it again. So the drink itself, you know, you get that pimento dram, right? So you get that nice kind of spiced pimento dram, but it's not overpowering, which it can be in larger quantities. You feel the cinnamon syrup in there. It has a really nice texture. The Jamaican rum is giving you sort of those like kind of hogo notes, those sort of, you know, tropical fruit, sort of overripe tropical fruit. And then on top of that, you've got the dark rum that kind of brings in a dark sugar, kind of burnt sugar kind of feel to it. All of that filtered through the cream makes it a bit sweet. Then you have the absinthe, which gives you that nice aromatic anise, like right up in your nose holes as you drink it, and it all just works perfectly together. It's a very perfectly balanced drink. And it has absolutely no coffee, and yet you still get some kind of coffee notes in there. you still get those kind of like dark, almost coffee-ish notes there. So there it is, Dutch Kills' Tiger Chilled Coffee. So the next cocktail requested by our viewer, Lucino Oliveros, is a more literal riff on the Dominicana. It's called the Pelican, and it's from Attaboy, which is a bar opened by Sam Ross in the old Milk and Honey space, and part of the same family again. So first thing we're gonna do is 1 ounce of Cafe Lolita. If you do not have Cafe Lolita, but you have Mr. Black, just remember that you can definitely sub it out. The only thing that you're gonna wanna do is add 1/4 ounce of simple syrup to kind of equate a little bit more of the sweetness of the cocktail. And then on top of that, one of our viewers thought up a really good idea of putting a couple of drops of maybe some mole bitters or some chocolate bitters, because there is a chocolate note to the Cafe Lolita that the Mr. Black would lack. And then we're gonna do 1 ounce of Branca Menta and 1 ounce of Fernet Branca. Add in the rest of our ice. I have high hopes for this one. I think this one's gonna be really good. Can't think of better flavors to play off each other than Fernet Branca, coffee, and chocolate. Gotta make sure that this is expanded properly, because there's nothing worse than putting this in and then watch it all just combine. The whole point is to have it float on top. And then you can combine it later, but for presentation, this is fantastic. Oh. I don't know why, but I'm just so partial to cream in cocktails. I really like it. All right, let's take a sip. It's a beautiful color, look at that. It's kind of red and dark. It's like a gradient of like dark up here, and then if you hold it against the light, it has this nice red in it. That kind of reminds me of another really genius drink we did, the Girl Scout cookie that we did. Branca Menta is like the Fernet Branca mint. It's really, really, really mint forward. Now I know a lot of you guys are gonna say that there is mint in the flavor profile of Fernet Branca, but it's really subdued, whereas it's really upfront here. So when you combine the Menta with the regular Fernet Branca, you get this nice, bitter, but not overly bitter flavor profile with a lot of mint right up front. And as you sip it through the cream, it tastes like a Thin Mint, exactly like a Thin Mint. Or like, what are the mint chocolate Girl Scout cookies? What are they called? Are those Thin Mints? Maybe. Or like an After Eight, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Like an After Eight chocolate, you know? Because you've got that coffee in here and you got that chocolate in here that gives it sugar and it gives it sweetness. But then you have the like bitter components of the Fernet Branca, and then you have that mint right up front. The cream balances out the sugar, it balances out the bitter, it makes things smoother, it makes it super delicious. Yeah, I think like a Thin Mint or like an After Eight chocolate, like a mint chocolate. That is fantastic. So there it is, the Pelican. A couple notes on the last cocktail as well I wanted to just get out of the way. I noticed that my cocktail was a little bit lighter. Marius was like kind of likening it to like a blonde roast coffee. And that has everything to do with how dark the rum that you use is. When I looked at the recipe though, it said 1 ounce of dark rum and then 1/2 ounce of dark Jamaican rum, right? So you could use something like Myers, or you could use something like Caruba, but Caruba is a Jamaican rum, so why wouldn't you just do 1.5 ounces of that instead of splitting the base between 2 rums? So there are 2 different allspice drams that you can use. The Pimento dram from Hamilton, which is what we use, or you can use the St. Elizabeth's allspice dram, and that's gonna be a little darker. So if you want it to have like a more coffee-like look, which I've seen pictures of the original, and it looks a lot darker and a lot more like coffee than what I did, you're gonna have to use like kind of darker colored rums. But what we put together today was really, really great. I did have to use a third-party website to kind of dig up these specs, so I'm hoping that they are accurate. But if anyone works at Dutch Kills or knows anyone that works at Dutch Kills or knows anyone that knows the actual specs of this cocktail, hit us up in the comments. But what we put together was really pretty fantastic anyway. So I just wanted to give you some of those build notes on that, and that's it, I guess. So 2 cream-based cocktails for the season. Pretty good. Not pretty good, they're both fantastic. And this one is, I think of the 2, I don't know. I can't say that this one is my favorite actually, because they're both pretty goddamn good. So yeah, if you like this channel, I don't know. How do I end this video?
Yeah.
I'm just rambling now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just end this video because I'm rambling now, but I'm really pleased about this. And I've drank my fair share of cocktails today. We gotta cut it. So if you like this channel, please hit like and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon and YouTube memberships. We want to thank our patrons and YouTube members for all of the fantastic support that they have lent us over the years. A lot of you guys have been there for a really long time and really appreciate it. We are expanding this channel pretty rapidly, and it is all because of you, or a lot because of you. If you want to, check out our website, theeducatedbarfly.com, for articles, our virtual bottle program. We've got all of our recipes up there as well. And I will see you guys on another time.
How does it compare to the Dominicana? Is it better than? Is it?
It's completely different. It's not the same thing at all. The Dominicana is like, you know, I think more chocolate forward. I think that the first cocktail, the Tiger Chilled Milk, that's going to be more like the Dominicana. It has a lot more of the same flavors, but then you add in that allspice dram. It gives it some nice spice and tropical vibes to it, whereas the Dominicana has that coffee in it and the chocolate in it, so it's a little bit more of an after dinner drink. Kind of close to this, but this has so much mint in its flavor profile that it really does a whole different thing. So honestly, all of these cocktails stand alone as their own unique thing, and it just goes to show you how you take the concept for one cocktail, which would be honestly at the very beginning a White Russian, but you take that that riff on a White Russian, and then you can change a couple of components in there and completely change it, but keep the idea the same, which is I think something is a really special thing. And that's what I think makes kind of the Milk and Honey family of bars so incredible, is that they are specialists in these small tweaks for big changes. Which is no problem, because, Marius, the more ice you have, the
colder it gets.
Yes, and the more ice you have, the
slower it dilutes.
There you go.
Can't remember, we have another to do.